had a website, but it was almost like a vanity project back then. Now it is like an entrance fee to have a business.
Good. Hey, I wanted to let you know that the Google guarantee, the Google ads, man, I'm getting 12 to 16 calls a week.
My goal is at least do 10 to 15 more years, grow it up, sell it for 40, 50 million, maybe more.
Hi, I'm Sam from Top Line Pro, and this is Titan Talks. This week's guest is Tasha from All About You Handyman. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, glad to be here.
I'm going to start out with a question that we ask pretty much everyone, which is how did you get started in the industry? What's your origin story?
So I think ours is a little bit different than a lot of companies. I'm a retired wildland firefighter, was just coming off a season in California where there had been excessive fatalities, and my husband was working as a laborer at a fencing company, and he had this idea where he was going to help elderly people in our community in his free time do just general handyman work. And I knew that I was ready to retire. So we put together All About You Handyman Services, which was intended to be exactly that, right? Like just a handyman service, part-time, basically for people of low income or elderly that we were going to help. We now, almost 5 years later, are an actual general contracting company, which that's what we do full time. We have employees. It went way beyond what our little idea was. That's us in a nutshell.
It is a very unique origin story, and
Yeah.
running a business can have its own stresses. Do you feel like this is the retirement that you were looking for?
We are actually opening a secondary business to sister with this business. So yes, we have grown exceptionally far and exceptionally large in a very short amount of time. Now we are adding a sister restoration company to this company. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where this is going. Not where I pictured my life. If you would have asked me when I was in high school, what are you going to do with your life? This definitely was not it, but it has definitely made a great life for us.
And it sounds like you went from serving the community in one way to serving the community in another way.
Yes, and it also enables us to be very community oriented in different things. Yeah, my husband and my brother dress up as Santa Claus, and I do Mrs. Claus, and our crew dresses up as elves, and we take presents to kids that are in foster care. And so it's opened a lot of doors for us. It's definitely opened us to a lot of amazing things.
That sounds wonderful, and I'd like to see the pictures of
Yeah, I'll send them to you from last year, or if you want to watch us live this year.
Sounds good. To chat about the business a little more, so it's been 5 years, you said, and you've grown a lot. What sort of lessons were hard to learn over that time, and where did those lessons come from? Were you training somehow, or learning on your own, learning on the job?
We winged everything that we did. It's been definitely a learning experience. When we first started out, we didn't have a whole lot of money. We were just, my husband worked a fairly decent paying job, but we weren't struggling, but we weren't well off by any means. So we didn't have a whole lot of financial resources to maneuver forward. So we found things that were cost effective for us, and trial and error, a lot of trial and error. Just watching free YouTube videos and finding different things that worked until we were able to advance little by little.
Could you tell me, like, how long did it take from starting to hiring your first employee besides you and your husband? And then how many employees do you have now?
So we have 8.5, I'll say 8.5 employees besides myself, my brother, and now my husband, and then my brother is our partner. My brother came on as our part-time employee probably about 6 months after we started. And then when we were about a year in, we invited him to partner with us in our business. And so now we have 8.5 employees. So we have one that works part-time, and then we have 8 full-time employees. And then we do subcontractors and we do all of that great other stuff. So.
Got it. So business today is good. How far would you say you're booking out with jobs?
So we currently have 5 jobs working right now, and we're probably about 3 to 4 months out schedule wise.
Wow. Some security there.
There is, yeah. Yes, and then we have the new startup business obviously kicking off at the beginning of the year, and we've already started to schedule for that. So there are people that from word of mouth know that we're getting ready to open. So it's a whole nother venture. So.
Would you say that word of mouth is the way that you get most new jobs?
So I think that social media is probably one of the best referral sources that we have. The reviews that we have online, and then yes, word of mouth.
How has your social media and other technology evolved over the last 5 years that you've been running the business?
Oh man, so when we first started, it was a nightmare. So I did a Facebook page, and then I did a Google web page, and then we had an Instagram, and then we had all of these independent platforms that required maintaining, right? Required updating, required photo uploads, required all of these things. And so I dropped the ball a lot because it required a lot to go in on top of doing everything else and making sure that first and foremost, our guys are getting pictures, right? Secondly, that they're being uploaded and that there's a story and that they're being shared to different groups so that it's not just our friend base, it's the community base. So that was a struggle probably for the first 3.5 years, honestly, until I found Topline. I had a difficult time maintaining our social media platforms, our Google updates, linking different things to different specials that we had going on or discounts, or just getting that information out there in a timely fashion was hard. It was really hard. And then when I started working with Topline Pro, I was able to link all of that together. And so I take our company cam photos, I pull them over as progress photos, and they put everything together for me. And it's scheduled. I don't have to worry about it. I know that when I want it there, it's there. If the guys are like, hey, can you put something up for fencing this week? All I have to do is go to the app, type in fencing, and Topline does the rest. And I'm like, love it. I absolutely love it. Like, I can't even tell you. I'm not just saying that because I'm on this podcast. I'm saying that because it literally changed the life of my business in regards to marketing. They can put coupon banners and they can send out, I put all of these cards that they send me in thank you cards to my customers, and I'm done. I don't have to be like, hey, texting a million people. It's there. It's ready. It's there, and it's affordable. I have a friend that he owns a roofing company in a different part of the state, and he spends about $10,000 a month on marketing. And what do you spend? I'm like, a couple $100. And he's, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And it does it all for me, like everything. I will never use anything else, not in this business, not in another business. I tell all my friends, I tell everybody, and I'm like, and I'm always calling Peter and Jane, and I'm like, hey, can you call this person? This person just started. Because I just don't think that you guys are out there enough that people are aware. And they're really missing out. You guys are like a diamond in a rough. Literally, you changed the game.
That is so good to hear, especially as an engineer. I'm working on the thing. So not
Yeah.
just that it works, but that it's saving you time really makes me very happy and makes us very happy. And it's good to hear that you're giving us some word of mouth as well. Thanks so much for coming on the pod.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Just the small things that you guys have done for our business in the brief amount. I don't even think we've been with you guys for a year, and our numbers have drastically increased. Our presence online is very fluent. It's very consistent. I see our posts and I'm like, oh, and people remember what they see, right? But finding the time to do that, especially within the first 5 years of opening a business, is very difficult to have effective time management. And you guys really help us achieve that without spending hours on end uploading photos and putting videos together. And because can I do the marketing? Can I do the media? Absolutely. Do I want to spend time doing flash videos and no, I don't have time to do that. And so I'm up late hours and I'm, exhausting myself trying to keep my social media alive when all I have to do is just send it. It's a click of a button. I send it and it's there. So
Great to hear. Great to hear.
Yeah.
It sounds like marketing is really the main value drive for you when it comes to Top Line Pro. Can you talk about why marketing is so important for a handyman business? How are you balancing new customers versus existing customers, making sure reviews come through, all that sort of thing?
So again, it's just a click. And going back to Top Line Pro, from the click that they send us on the website, we're able to respond right there through the information that you guys send us. With the review links, with making an appointment, from all of that, it keeps our customer communication alive. And it assists us in doing that. So it's like a reminder platform where it's like a little personal assistant. Hey, did you remember to call this person back? Hey, it's time to set an appointment. It's time to change this. It's time to follow up. Did you send your review link? And it's like a little personal assistant right in your pocket.
Yeah, sometimes when things don't get written down or notified in some way, they just tend to slip the mind. So it's
right. And if you do write them down, we have 4 company vehicles. So I wrote it down, but it's in the other truck, right? And the other truck is in Helena. And I'm like, I know I wrote it down. And then you try to call the person while they're on a job and they don't answer the phone. So then you don't know. And I'm just like, it just makes things so much simpler. And with the communication piece, all of our guys can look in and see where are we at with this job. If they're doing estimates, if they're doing, and then it also gives me the availability to add customers that don't come through on our webpage. I can add that in there and you guys send me reminders. So I'm like, that works, right?
sounds like the communication piece is also very important. And it makes me think, just the kind of bit of a change of subject, but are there unique things about a handyman business in Montana as opposed to anywhere else in the country?
I think there's a heart of Montana that kind of has that you do what you say you're going to do type of hometown. I don't want to call it country, but right, like your neighbor next door, do what you say, what you mean type of thing. Everything is consistent on a handshake, right? Like a lot of people in Montana still live by that, right? They believe in that and they just believe in that if that's what you say it is, then that's what's going to happen. And so it doesn't give us that. Being able to have that relationship basis doesn't give us that corporate feel, right? That most people are turned off by in areas like we live in.
Yeah, it sounds like a very community focused business. And it's clear from your website too, you're a family business very much. What about some advice for other small business owners out there? What do you wish that you knew when you were getting started?
The importance of answering the phone. The importance of answering the phone and having that communication piece, regardless of what happens. People would rather hear a bad truth than nothing at all. If appointments or things are delayed or communication, that's a huge thing that we really work towards. We're not always perfect. We drop the ball sometimes, but that's a huge thing for us. And that was a huge learning curve for us, right? Because I'm sure that if you've ever searched for a contractor or anybody to do anything for you, somebody you call repeatedly, they don't answer the phone or they don't call you back or they make an appointment and they don't show up, or that was huge. That was huge for us. And we learned some hard lessons in regards to that. Just communication, no matter what it is.
It sounds like both internal communication
Yes,
in the business and external communication are super important.
it is. Yes.
What would you say to someone who has their business, they're getting some jobs, they maybe just have a Facebook page and good word of mouth. They say, maybe I don't necessarily need more than that. What would you tell that theoretical person?
If they felt like that was good enough, what are you going to do in the winter?
Another, not unique to Montana, but definitely a factor in Montana.
Yeah. So if somebody told me that in the summer, my first response would be like, what are you going to do in the winter? Because things are booming, but without that additional assistance with things in Montana, it's not something that you are going to be flourishing throughout the year. Word of mouth is great. It's a small town, whatever, but especially in the wintertime, there's things that come up and people use the internet for absolutely everything, And word of mouth is great if you're just going to work in your neighborhood.
were there specific services that you made sure to market effectively that would keep you busy all season? Obviously, fencing was where you started, but that's more of a summer job.
We actually started when we first began, it was like changing light bulbs, painting a railing, different things like that. And then we slowly progressed. Now we do snow removal in the winter, we do Christmas lights, we do getting snow off of roofs, we do emergency call outs for broken pipes. We cover just about everything.
Really?
Yeah. So
It sounds, I can imagine, especially you were talking about serving like elderly people in the community, like that type of job that
mhm.
they, especially in the winter, if it's related to heating or something, like they need that done and they need it done quick. And it sounds like you're
Right.
here for them, which is great.
And I think it's important too. You don't, with the way that the world moves today, nobody wants to sit on the phone and listen to you list off your skills, right? What can you do? Or what do you do? And then an hour later, you're like, oh yeah, and I forgot, when you can just type in what you need and there we are, right? Like if we do, it comes up.
How often would you say someone goes to the job and the homeowner is like, oh, while you're here, this other thing is also broken or needs fixing?
Every time.
I can imagine. I would do the same thing.
Every time. Yes, absolutely. Every time. Yeah.
Do you build in a little extra time like on the schedule for stuff like that?
So we never convert a consistent job. We never do add-ons. So it'll either be a secondary invoice or we will do like an amended contract with them. Contracts are so important. We've definitely learned that the hard way. So yeah, unless it's in writing, we don't do it, but we do schedule a secondary time to complete it.
And it keeps you coming back. It keeps the communications up with the customer. Do you get a lot of repeat calls with the same customers over the years?
We have probably, I'd say, about maybe a dozen and a half customers that we've consistently worked with throughout the years. A lot of them are property managers, multiple homeowners. They own different homes in the area, commercial properties. We did extensive work for Walmart throughout Montana. Yeah, we've done a lot.
Awesome. Okay, on the other side of things, we've done advice for the business owner. What about for homeowners? What would you say are common mistakes that people make when they're looking for a company, or what advice would you give to people who are looking for a good pro to come out and do some work for them?
Just to know your company, do your homework. And even if it's not us, ensure that it's somebody that's insured, honestly licensed, and is licensed for what you're having them do. Because we have a lot of people that will call us and we called this contractor and they came, we wrote them a check, but they're not a real business, or they don't have insurance, or they took off with our money. So just doing your due diligence in regards to whoever you hire. I think that's why reviews are so important, right? Because it keeps you alive and gives people a familiar sense if they can read other people's opinions, right? If they can, and then they have that familiarity, like they almost like they get to know you, right? But I think that just do your homework, no matter who it is. And if they give you insurance, I always tell anybody, if somebody gives you an insurance for a large amount of money, call their insurance company and say, hey, I just want to verify that these people have insurance with you. And does it cover this? Because there's some companies that will be like, oh, I can do that. And then it totally goes south and their insurance, they're not even covered for that. So we're not paying you. So just do your due diligence, do your homework. Take the time. It's your home. It's your livelihood. So I think
Very
that's important.
Very good tip. And about the reviews too, I definitely think people behind every review is a real person.
Yeah.
Who's satisfied. So that means a lot to a homeowner. How do you make sure that you keep getting reviews?
I send these awesome little cards that this company Top Lane Pro sent me, and I put them in our thank you cards. And then I also send the review link reminder that comes on my phone from the same company.
Excellent. Excellent. A good
Yeah.
plug. Okay, so to move on to the last section of the podcast, we like to end with a rapid fire. So I'll just throw some questions out and just try to answer them quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so what is your goal with the business? Why are you doing this?
So my goal is to be able to comfortably retire.
Good answer. Good answer. What is the biggest mistake you've made, and what did you learn as a result of it?
Not utilizing time management and lack of communication.
Okay. How about most surprising thing about starting a business?
Employees.
You finding good employees and keeping them?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a generational thing, but yes, that's been our biggest struggle.
We hear it a lot.
Yes.
Okay, what about one horror story that you're comfortable sharing?
We had an employee, he fell asleep on the job.
No.
And so we went there. He said that he was really tired. The homeowner actually called us to tell us that he was sleeping in the bushes.
Wow.
So
Back
yeah.
to the point about employees being a challenge. Okay, on a more positive note, what about a job, a memorably good job that was innovative or unique that you are really proud of?
I think relationship wise, we did some work for some realtors who then in turn sold us our home, who then in turn sold our niece a home, and then our best friend's daughter a home. And now we're really good friends with them.
That's
Just the
excellent.
relationships that we've built along the way. Yeah.
It's full circle. It comes
Yeah.
back to everything being about the community.
Yep.
And I think it's a good one to end on. Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep doing the great work that you're doing and serving the community.
You too, because I love what you guys do.
Thanks, Tasha.
Yeah, thank you.